For years, the world has listened to thousands of podcasts. But if you dare to immerse yourself into a new experience, new ideas, viewpoints, award-worthy commentary, and a way of looking at things you didn't think were possible, strap in, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Gaming, current events, local and global, finance, sports, religion, health, and everything else. It's all here. It's all here in the Data Podcast.
What do we want to talk about, man? This is like the first podcast I want to say where it's like there's no topics, right?
Yeah, I thought we just talk, bro. Like,
What were we talking about before, man? We're talking about the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff.
yeah, that so recently, there's a Netflix. I don't know. It's not like a documentary series, but it's like I believe it's like a series dedicated to like Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer.
Huh?
I haven't watched it. It's on my list, but I see on social media it's been going off. Like everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it's disturbing and
That's the guy that he ate people. No, what do you do?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was. I haven't watched it, so I don't really know. But I think it was. He would kidnapped. I'm not sure. It was kids. I think. I'm not sure it was boys or girls.
Yeah.
I think it was boys.
Mm.
He would kill them and eat them. And from the little clips that I see on social media, it's basically like there's this neighbor who happened to be like a black lady, and she would like hear the noises coming from his apartment and everything, and she would be calling the police and stuff. But you know, back then nobody really cared
Like
or
the
listened
noises
to
of
them,
the kids or what?
or like just noises.
because it's drills, because he was using like power tools on
Mm-hmm.
these kids. They were boys.
Probably like in the morning hours that would cause like an alarm or something.
No, it was like in the night.
Oh, at night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like at night.
So I haven't watched it either, but I have it on my list too.
Mhm.
I've been meaning to watch.
And basically like the neighbor would be like, he's doing something,
Yeah.
y'all need to stop him, basically. But nobody would like pay her no mind or anything until eventually, you know, he became the serial killer and he was wanted and stuff. But you know, it kind of goes to show, I'm not sure if it's like based on true events. I'm sure it is, but I haven't watched it, so I'm not
Oh, it was a
sure.
real guy. No,
I
the
think
guy was.
I
A...
think-
No,
Is
like
that
Jeffrey
in a-
Dahmer, but I'm not sure like that setting where he was like in the apartment with the neighbor.
Yeah.
is
might be
what really
dramatized
happened.
or something.
But if it is, you know, imagine how many kids would have been saved if they would just listen to her. You know what I mean?
No.
Because
To
from
the-
what I've seen, she
to
was,
the neighbor.
yeah.
Mm.
Because when I see, she was calling like multiple times, like I'm not sure it was day after day, but like week after week or
Yeah.
something. Every time she heard something, and he just kept on going on because they didn't want to listen to her. And it's like, what a missed opportunity if it actually happened like that.
Yeah.
He could have been stopped well before what he was initially stopped at. It just kind of makes me like, I don't know, it's weird, man. Like, people can actually go to those extremes and commit these things.
Yeah.
Eat people, like
Yeah.
eat other people. I was
I don't-
talking to this. Hold that thought, man. I was talking to this friend of mine, and le dije, yo, this was actually last night, and I was like this thought just came into my mind, and I was just like, how was it? Like you can't. Like, you know how like they say like this tastes like nothing. This is how this began, right? It tastes like nothing. But what is that really? That's what I told him. I was like, when you think about that what is it, like a sentence?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think about that, it's like what's nothing, right?
Mhm.
And I tell him like, but water tastes like nothing, right? That's
Yeah.
what you would think, right? And I'm like, that's not true.
Water tastes like water.
Like water tastes like water.
Tastes
like
like something.
like you, I don't know how to explain. Like it has a taste.
Yeah.
Like you could blindfold me and serve water, and I know that it's water. You
Yeah.
know. And I'm telling them like, what's nothing? You know, as people would say like it tastes like nothing. And I said, is it possible? This is the question that I asked. I said, is it possible? Because I asked him, can you taste your tongue right now? And he
Okay.
said, okay. So he's like, no. And I'm like, okay. So this is nothing. I said, so is it possible that if you eat somebody else's tongue or just try to taste it, it tastes like nothing, right?
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, that's what nothing is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why this came about, man. But you were gonna say something.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say that I don't know if this because I haven't watched it either. But
Mhm.
from what I've heard, I don't know if this started initially as him wanting to eat, like
Oh yeah,
like cannibalism.
Mhm.
I think it was more because I heard that he used to see how in animals or something they did something to their brain and they could control them. So he wanted to find someone
they
like,
can
like
control.
companionship, and he would like drill holes into their heads under
To understand them or
under
something?
drugs, like
Oh.
to try to manipulate them or something. I guess maybe I'm way off of what it is because I
Mhm.
haven't watched it. But yeah, there has been like already some shows about it in the past.
Yeah.
that I never watched. This is like the newest one
Mhm.
in Netflix.
What I heard was that there was a controversy with Netflix
Mhm.
with this
With this one?
with this series, yeah, because something about you know how like when you go on Netflix you have like your what are they like tags.
Okay.
Like this is like Hispanic like or this is
Oh,
like
okay.
Black Lives Matter tag on there. So this one they had originally LGBTQ on there. It was tagged,
Oh, okay.
but it's like this se hizo un pedo like they made him take it off like take this guy. So
Yeah,
was
be-
that guy gay or what?
Because it was boys. He was doing this to boys. So I think he was gay. Right?
I'm not really sure. I haven't really
Let me find out,
delved
man.
too much into
Let me
it.
Yeah, I think so, bro.
Yeah.
I think so. And so I was talking about the other show that's also kind of like about
Cannibalism,
Mhm.
but there was never really any. He never like ate anyone or anything.
Okay.
They never talked about that, but so it was this actor. I don't know. I remember what his name is. I'll search him up. But he came out in the movie Facebook. But then that's Facebook or.
I don't think I watched it.
Okay, so
But-
he was like the main character.
Okay.
He was like one of the characters there, but he's kind of famous and he did some other movies. But he had a bunch of girlfriends,
Mhm.
and so like they start interviewing one and then the next one, and so the first one is like he's telling their story about everything was perfect with this guy, and then all of a sudden like he just takes her like to some random place in the desert,
Mhm.
and like they sleep there, and then they get intimate or whatever. But then like she's shocked about what happened during the night. She doesn't say like the details, so we're kind of like, what
Yeah.
happened, right?
Yeah.
So, but then they interview other girls, and they all kind of saying the same
Mhm.
thing. Like he took me to that same place. He told me the same things, and he did the same things to me. So like
Yeah.
he was like tying them up
Yeah.
and like kind of torturing, like
Mhm.
inflicting pain to the
Yeah.
Mhm.
to the girls and without their consent, because supposedly like that's some kind of consensual thing, like they had to talk
Yeah, yeah.
about it before.
What's gonna happen,
what's
yeah,
gonna happen,
yeah.
and like if you're uncomfortable with it, like say some kind of code word or something.
Yeah,
like that. It's
yeah,
not-
safe
word,
but
it's a
this-
safe
but,
word, yeah.
But this guy never.
Huh.
They never talked about
Yeah.
it. So, and then like you see the messages that he was messaging with some girl, and when some of the messages was like, I want you to get like a surgery where you get some of your ribs removed, and I want to keep them, and I want to eat them,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. He would say stuff like that to the girls.
Mhm.
So they were exposing him, and that's another.
It sounds like when you think about it like from like a psychological standpoint, but I'm not a psychiatrist. But there's like with this sexual stuff specifically, there's like association kind of type. Like what I want to say is like you might have been experienced to something horrible in your childhood, or you witnessed something as a child, and so the only way you ever get off, it's like your threshold, right? The only way to get off is that it needs to be like this. It needs to be exactly like this, because that's what I was exposed to. Like, well, not me, like, but like
Mhm.
like in this particular case, that's actually a thing, man. Like there's people que
It's like something flips
Yeah.
in their minds because they were exposed
Yeah,
to
like-
something, and then now that's what's
it's
driving
like
them to do.
you have like your orgasm, and then the only way that it's reached
Mhm.
for these type of people is for them to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Was
yeah.
was this guy? Because during the interview, they started finding out that his dad and then his grandpa and then because his grandpa was
Mhm.
actually really famous. Was one of like the owners of a lot of oil. I don't know if you're here in Texas or where, but he was
Mhm.
very very rich, and so he would also beat his wife.
Mhm.
I don't know if also like during like intimacy or whatever, but it had been like generational. And this
Mhm.
guy probably like his dad was doing it when he was a kid, and he was like listening to his mom getting beat or something. That's what the series, like after watching it, implied kind of like
Mhm.
it was a generational thing. And then this other guy, the Dahmer guy, according to what I've heard also, is that since he was a kid, he was interested in like how the like dissecting animals and all those things.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
maybe it's something that got creeped into his
Yeah, there's,
mind.
there's people that are like just naturally sick, man.
Because I heard also that they were saying that somehow anybody could be capable of that. Because like there's always that curiosity inside of you, like, well, how does it feel like to,
Mhm.
to do this? You know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess what I want to say to that is, like, you build like some type of tolerance after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know for me, like now it's gonna be like 2 months already, where I'm in semen retention, where it's just completely zen, bro, right? But I want to say that before this time, right? Like before all this time, I actually started this journey like around June, right? Where like ya no empecé a ver nada, but now like semen retention for real, 2 months, blue balls and all, like it's the worst, right? Yeah, it's the worst. But I want to say that before that, I was like so desensitized, bro, because like of all the shit that you just see.
Mm-hmm.
Like of all the shit that just like, and it's so quick, man. Like you go on your phone, yeah, I hate that, bro. You just go Pornhub, whatever the fuck you're gonna get on there, right? And you just you just click the first
Yeah.
thing, right? And then it's like YouTube. It's like the next recommended video, right? And it just gets like it's not maybe like the first video. Like I want to say like maybe the first video is like passionate, right? Like you can like see like passion in there. And then it just gets like progressively worse until you get to like what you just said,
Yeah.
where it's like there's just beatings happening, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You get to that point, and in real life, my own experience, right, is it doesn't match with reality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's like my perception of what this was supposed to be like, because that's what I saw. Is not. I need to see what I saw. I need to do that. Like
yeah.
that's the only way it's gonna work. Like it's not gonna work any other way. Like because that's what I saw. I want to do that.
Sorry,
you know?
that came into
Yeah. Mhm. And so then in real life, what is she's like, you know, what's going on? You know, they have that question. They're like you never climax.
Yeah.
What am I not good enough, right?
That's
And
what's on their mind.
yeah, man, and you're just like, oh, well, let me tell you, right? After a while, we're like, yeah, you're already tired as hell because you've been there for 45 minutes, and shit, right? And you're just like, let me tell you what's happening,
Yeah.
you know? And then, actually, this was the person who, like, woke me up to that.
No.
And she told me, and I was just like, oh. She's like, yeah, it's a thing. It happened.
Yeah, even if you let it get that far.
Yeah. And I would assume that this would probably be true for other things too, man.
Yeah.
Like, when you think, like what you're exposed to, like, not to go into the religious right away,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like honestly, like if you were exposed to like black magic and Satanism and
Yeah.
stuff,
I mean, we
that's
are,
what you would be prone to.
Yeah, everything that we do is something that we've seen someone else do. Or
Like
some,
you're
something taught
programmed,
us
yeah.
how to do this.
Mhm.
And
Whether it be
nothing
like,
you didn't come up with anything. Something is
Environmental
already there.
programming, almost, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
When you think about it, like it's like. So like we come into this world, bro. Like I'm already going like another way, man. But you come into this world, right? And it's like you don't have a say. By the way, it's like, by the way, right? Like you sign here, right? You signed right here in the clause. Like that's what I like to picture. Like before all of this began, I like to picture like como like God was like, you want to experience, you want to experience life. Like, are you sure? And you're like, cause you're like an angel, and you're like, yeah, I wanna see what this creation is, right? this is my own mind, right? This isn't biblical at all. This is my mind, right? Like this is like what's going on here, right? And so then it's like, oh, are you sure? And he's like, it's gonna be crazy, right? It's gonna be crazy, but you can do whatever you want, you know. And, okay, all right, I'll go ahead and check it out, right? And so then you just come here, right? And then it's like the clause at the bottom, the asterisk, right? Like, because you could have been born into royalty, which we can talk about too. But no, you don't have a say here. Unfortunately, you're from like El Barrio, right? And everything's going to be against you and it's going to suck ass because this particular family. Have you heard of Sins of the Father? Have you heard of something like that? That concept? Where it's like the sins of the dad like get passed down to the son and it's just like generational curses that just, right? And so it's like, you're going to be born into this, you know, and good luck.
Good luck to you.
Right? Because you don't have a say, man. You come here and it's just like, como, your accent, your demeanor, your way of being, these hand gestures, your everything is learned behavior. Everything is, it's not you.
You saw it somewhere, somehow.
It's not you. Get this. What I'm seeing, I don't know if y'all have seen this at all, bro, but I'm seeing more and more men having their nails painted. Have you seen this? It's happening. Pay attention. It's crazy.
I mean,
Everybody can be their own person, right? Go ahead, right? But this is what I'm trying to say. Is this rebellion where I was born into this and I have to do everything I can to go against all this? I was born into a world that said men aren't supposed to paint their nails, right? But I'm gonna paint them. Does that make any sense?
I don't know. I have seen that since a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't necessarily seen more of it, but I'm sure that there is. I know that there's a lot of guys wearing makeup now.
I haven't seen that.
Look.
It's kind of hard to tell though, cause I'm like colorblind and shit. So yeah, like I wouldn't know. Sometimes I'll be seeing like people like in a filter, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, I use this kind of filter, like it's supposed to make me look pretty, and I'm just like,
Looks the
bitch,
same.
like bitch, you look the same. You know, you're just like, like
Yeah.
you look the same. You know?
And we're going back to the topic about porn, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I saw this like in a show or something that they asked the girl like, oh, what kind of porn do you like? And she was like, oh, lesbian. Oh, why? Because it's the only one where it looks like the woman's not being tortured.
¿Cómo está?
That she likes. They asked her like, what type of porn does she like, where she watched?
The one where they're being tortured.
And then she said it was a woman. So she said, oh, lesbian porn. Why? And she said it's because it's the only one where it looks like the woman is actually enjoying it and she's not being tortured. Because you know, like all the porn videos sometimes I get that the poor girl that can't even breathe or
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. This is actually interesting, man. So I did research, right? I've been doing research on the side. If you saw here on my so this is what's going on in the podcast, right? Like we're sitting down here, but there's a TV over there, and the audience can't see it, right? But if you had seen in the recommended earlier, like the very first recommended video was like semen retention, right? Like motivation, you know. But this is what I found out in my studies, man, in my research on the side, right? I'm like, I'm gonna see what's going on, right? Check this out. This is a very big problem in girls, bro. Right now. Right now. Okay. Just think about like your worst day where it was like todo el día estás ahí, you know. Pinche jalando el mofle, bro. Todo el día. Like, right? Right now? A lot is happening right now, bro. With girls, bro. Yeah, it is. It is. And this check this out, right? Their confidence goes down too.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna to approach a guy, right? And this is a problem with a guy already. Your regular guy, right, has this issue, right? It's this, you know, will never happen. And so there won't be any more marriages. And so there won't be any more kids. And so you look at countries, okay, you look at countries, I can't remember off the top of my head, but you say where porn is regulated, right? Where all you'll see is just like somebody's ass at the most. That's all. Everything else is like censored, right?
Mhm.
The birth rate in those countries, or in that country that I can't remember the name, was higher than where it's not regulated. So, I was thinking about it, and I was like, is it possible that this is a dangerous what it does to the mind, bro? This, think about like your best feeling ever, right? Just think about like a moment where you smiled, right? Like a moment that was like like you were happy, right? An orgasm, bros, is beyond a smile. It's beyond what happens in the brain.
Oh, it's
You
like
get-
drugs.
you-
in the
yeah,
brain.
it's like this. It's
Dopamine,
called
right?
dopamine. Yeah. You can take cocaine, right? You can smoke pot. You can drink alcohol. You'll get your dopamine release, but when the orgasm happens, no drug on earth will release
The same amount.
the same potent amount of
Dopamine.
dopamine. Yeah.
It'll put you right to
And
sleep.
and
bro.
all the
It'll
them
put you right to sleep.
all the receptors are ready to accept, so you're pleasuring yourself,
Yeah.
and this is a simulation,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're seeing this guy penetrate some girl, and that's supposed to be you if you're a guy, and if you're the girl, you're the girl receiving, right? Receiving the gift, receiving the water,
The donation.
the donation, right? So the guy and the girl, right? In separate houses, in separate parts of the world, all over the place. It's happening right now. It's happening as I'm saying it. Their dopamine is released on their own. I don't need anybody. I don't need a man. I don't need a man, right? But the guy is dumb guy.
Just a
The guy don't necessarily need the girl, not necessarily need her, but he just needs her to perform. That's it. And so then the two will never, because as long as this dopamine, this drug, as long as this is on your own, no, it won't, it doesn't jive. And that's why I'm seeing like the younger we go, the cascade, like me, I'm 30. It would have been so that I would have been married by now, right? But you just see the effect that it had. And I'm speaking and I'm saying what I'm saying because for me this problem has been since I was like 10 years old. Since I was
10 years old.
Yeah, I was exposed to porn at a very early age.
I want to say, bro, that what you're talking about here, right? But actually, like, because they're orgasming or whatever, so they have no need, I guess, to go look for specific someone else or whatever. But I want to say that it's more of a problem from porn addiction versus like just doing it every once in a while with no TV or whatever, just with your mind. I'm pretty sure it's like a healthy balance. I don't know. And it's crazy that we're talking about this because on my way over here from work, I was listening to something on the radio and there was like some kind of not a doctor, but I guess like a expert on these things that was actually talking about something like this, and I don't go into it. But what I was gonna say, like, because porn is so accessible nowadays, and it has been for a while, and then like you said, like people can just like go in there at any time on their phone and find any kind of video that they're into, like the worst kind of things. You can just go on there and look at it all day if you wanted to. Back then it wasn't as accessible. It was still a problem.
Or as sick as some of the shit today.
Yeah. So what this doctor was saying, and I don't know, like, if maybe they're wrong because their message was like, oh, it's okay, it's healthy to do this, and they were saying like, they were talking about like masturbation, and like they were talking about the guy. Oh, the guy usually like they need to usually watch some kind of porn or something to get turned on, and the woman is more of a they need to imagine or fantasize being with someone that they don't know or someone that they can't. This is like a fantasy, like an impossible thing. And for them, it's more like a fantasizing on their minds, and the guy is more of a visual thing. They have to see something.
Yeah.
But she was saying like it's totally okay, and maybe she's wrong, right? Because like like you said, is this causing problems? Maybe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I don't know what to.
Yeah,
because
no,
I never
mean,
researched into
yeah.
into something
Yeah.
into something like
No,
that.
like so I'm just speaking on like my personal experience
Yeah.
and what I had observed. This
Yeah.
was an observation, but yeah. So it's the I don't know what it is. I was actually talking to this about with my other friend, but this is what I had said. I said como era.
Let me just say, but that the doctor or the expert
Uh-huh.
or whatever was saying that yeah, women do it as much as men do too.
Yeah.
And might even more. Because
Mhm.
I've heard in many
Yeah.
like surveys or researches or whatever that the woman is more like thinks more about sex than
Mhm.
men. Is there more like
Yeah, it's like cause like, you have your fantasy. Now, when you hear fantasy, right, the woman is thinking, this is gonna be some crazy ass shit. But you're right. She's gonna be like, this is gonna be some crazy ass shit, right? But the reality is that if you don't know your partner, right, and like let's say like my fantasy is a girl just in all red, bro. That's it. Up to there, right? Like a girl in all red, fantasy, right? But when you hear fantasy, you say like, oh, this guy's gonna wanna like tie me up and shit, right? And probably like hurt me, and this is gonna be I don't know how couples how you when we already said how you would get into this. We have an idea, but the consensual part,
yeah.
right? You go and you ask some girl like, hey, like let's go have sex, right? Okay, let's go, right?
Yeah.
But you're not aware that she's about to hurt your ass, like, right? She tells you nothing.
Whips
right?
you?
Yeah, she just,
Oh.
just when she pulls out like this.
She
like,
pulls out her
whip.
toolkit.
Yeah.
Why you bring a briefcase?
I want to say like a common fantasy also for guys is like being with two women at the same time, or I would say even for women too, like being with
The two guys.
or
Fíjate,
the
like,
guy and
I
the
don't
woman.
think I'd fantasize about two women when I think about it because.
How can you do it? How can
Yeah,
you?
like once
How do you-
once you're done with one, you're done.
Too many
Like,
with too many.
yeah, you're
holes.
just like
Uh,
right? Yeah.
Act dead.
play dead.
No leaves soon enough.
Right, but
Stop
no,
playing with each other.
it is a fantasy for a lot, maybe a lot of guys, most guys, let's say, right? It's a fantasy for most guys, but sex is very powerful, man.
Powerful thing.
I sent you all a link about semen retention, and como dijo Elon Musk, and that I don't know if you saw
I
it.
didn't get
You
to watch it.
get to
I
it?
wanted to, but I never had the chance.
Yeah, but he says like this is bizarre, like odd. He says he's like having like orgasming with no purpose.
Yeah.
He says the purpose of the orgasm is to procreate.
Yeah.
He's like, you're doing this for no purpose.
Yeah.
It's like you have your bank, right? Your money, and so when you're like just watching porn and stuff, you're just giving your money away like an idiot. Like, and there's this one guy who says this
Is that what he compared it to? Or
no, like
is your example?
essentially, yeah,
Oh.
like because there's the other guys in the video. I don't know if you saw it. There's other guys in the video that it's like a bunch of celebrities or famous people have said, and there's this other guy who says like it's life force.
Yeah, I think I watched to the part. I watched a little bit of it where the guy was saying, "It's like every time you do this, you're taking a day away from your life."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
about to say?
He's like and what else does that guy say? Es un negrito, right? He's
I
like a
didn't get to
rapper,
finish
yeah.
it. I wanted to watch it.
He
but that's where I
says
stayed.
he adds on to that, and he's like one orgasm is the equivalent of like running those extra 6 miles, where you say like ya no pude, and you find out how much more you get to go, you know. He's like that orgasm is the equivalent of like that extra rep, you know, and more. He says. He's like, it's life force. Like, it's literally like, this is a fluid that is used to create a life, he says. He's like, and you're just like, yeah, like, he's like, what are we doing, right? And so I want to say that what I noticed for me was that things became more highlighted, I want to say. Like, I noticed things more. Maybe they were always there. But this was the issue. Was the highlight because I was craving, right? Is that why I was like, how come on all these fucking TikToks, it's like some girl wiggling her ass, and then the next one is some girl in a bikini, and then the next one is this, and then I go to YouTube and it's the same, and I go to Google and it's the same, and you look anywhere, you look at a magazine, you see a magazine on the stores, it's there, it's everywhere, and I'm just like, why?
Was
Like, why? And so this is where I say, why do you want me to fall? You know, and for me, it's a battle, bro.
and it's also everywhere, bro. Because it's like the saying goes, sex sells. So they want to put it everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
They've even put it like on restaurants, bro. I don't know if you've ever seen this maybe before, like on the burgers and stuff. Where
I've seen
people like
commercials,
eating
yeah.
and making a comment like, oh,
Yeah.
like they're having an orgasm or something.
Yeah.
So like they put sex as much as possible anywhere, even like on
Yeah.
cartoons for kids, bro.
Mhm.
Everything. We're like, I was watching and this is like the most innocent thing, bro. But it was there. It was in Pinocchio, the new movie. I watched that with my kids.
Mm.
So just randomly out of nowhere, the little cricket is just like, ¿cómo se llama?
Laying,
Yeah.
relaxing on the wall.
Yeah, with his hand, but it's up the wall. It's like this statue or like a toy with
Okay.
a huge butt, and he's touching, he's grabbing the butt, and he's like, "Oh, excuse me, ma'am." And they make a joke, like an adult joke,
Yeah.
I guess. But if you pay attention to it, like sex is everywhere, and
Yeah.
especially for adults, because like they say, sex sells. Like
Mhm.
if they make a movie,
Yeah.
a random movie that has nothing to do with sex, they have to put like a naked woman or something so
Yeah.
that it'll attract.
Yeah, when you think about it, bro, like if you think about it, like if I was the devil, bro, right? Like, and I was like the devil and stuff, sex is my weapon.
Mhm.
I'm just like, come on, look, I even have your children falling, and I have them. I have little boys like in little boys, you know, like look at what I can do, you know.
And
Right? Yeah, it's a weapon.
And think about what like the most desirable thing is in this world, bro. I don't remember if you remember this, bro. I don't know if you remember this, but when we had a debate once in the pharmacy, and I asked everybody. It was like,
I don't remember how. This is gonna
what,
be great.
what do you think? What do you think is the most beautiful thing in the world? What do you
Uh-huh.
consider the most beautiful thing in the world? And everybody's giving like their opinions.
What did I say?
And I said, I don't remember, but I said my point. The point that I was trying to make is a woman. The woman is the most beautiful thing in the world.
Uh-huh.
And I started giving my opinions, and then someone, I'm not gonna mention their name, someone said, no, it's the man.
Mhm.
And that was, so we're like, no, it doesn't make any sense. So my point was, yeah, God made man in his image, right? So of course we're
I
beautiful.
want to get into this, man.
So, of
Let me
course-
write down notes.
So of course we're beautiful, right? Because
Mhm.
we're man. We're made in the image of God. We're
Mhm.
man. But he made a woman so that men could like them, so that men could be attracted to them. So obviously they have to be even more beautiful than us, right? I would
Mhm.
assume so. Like
Mhm.
yes, like we're beautiful, made in the image of God. But God made women for us.
Mhm.
So that's even gotta be in our minds, like the
Yeah.
if we were the best creation yet, man, right? Most
Mhm.
beautiful, the most perfect, or whatever. Then woman comes along and just has to blow that away.
Out of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why and then my points that I was trying to make is because and what I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from is that I've heard a lot of songs, Mexican songs, like Vicente Fernandez, and that saying like, "Oh, the most beautiful thing in the world is women."
Mhm.
And that's why I wanted to make my point that way. But then I backed it up with this,
Mhm.
and then I was also saying like, because men turn gay because, and this is just an opinion. This is I don't believe this to be a factual. This is just like I'm just making dumb points to back up my idea. Right? So
Yeah.
men become gay because they desire to be as beautiful as those women, right? So
Mhm.
like
Mm.
you can't have one or something like this. That's what I want it so much that I'll
Yeah.
become one.
Mhm.
And then women become lesbians because a woman is just so beautiful. So like a man is not good enough. Like I want a woman too. So like
Mm.
that's my point
Yeah,
was
yeah,
about
yeah.
like women is the most
No,
beautiful thing.
women are they have a power, bro. They have a special gift, right? Where for 9 months they carry life for 9 months. This is a gift.
Yeah, that's something
This
that a
is
man
like-
is never gonna know what
No.
it's like.
No,
Mhm.
it's like their whole wiring, their whole neurons and nervous system and everything, their whole unit is for the successful production, growth of a fetus, right? That's
Mhm.
that's their whole thing.
Mhm.
So así como estoy diciendo yo, you know, this porn thing, it's all tied in, man. All of this shit is tied in. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So the women, they have this power, right? This gift that God gave them, right? This is a gift, right? For 9 months, life is growing inside you. You get to feel what it was like when maybe like God made like man out of clay, maybe, right? You can make like an association. It's amazing, right? But what do you want to do? You wanna get abortions and stuff.
Yeah.
You're literally like, even guys, out here where we're sitting, man, our whole body right now is doing everything that it can to make sure that your sperm is healthy. It's the best, the grade A meat, bro. Essentially, like, your whole body right now is focusing on just that. Like, yeah, everything else matters, right? Like the blood pressure and everything else, because you die, right? Well, then what's the point, right? Like, your point here was to have sex, create a child, right? Create life, and then your bloodline lives on.
Replicate.
Yeah.
Send off your information. Pass
Yeah,
it on.
but what are we doing, man? We're angry about the abortion stuff, and we want to be. I mean, there's a lot of girls on OnlyFans, bro. There's too many of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving to a place where men, right? Because there's a difference between boys, right? Where men are gonna have a real tough time finding a wife, bro. It's gonna be real tough. I'm looking at it like from me, my standpoint, right? I'm gonna be in a position, bro, where I'm gonna be like, bitch, what you want with me? Like, right? Like, you know, what the fuck are your real intentions, you know?
Yeah.
And that alone is enough to not just walk in a defeated mindset. I want to say you want to try to be positive, of course, but look at the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's just look at it.
Yeah, no, because back
Yeah.
then it used to be that the guys were like the perverted ones and the ones after the women all the time and being like that.
Yeah.
And now, I can't say like that I've seen a lot of it because I don't know about the world, but I listen to the songs that being signed out there. I don't know if you listen to the song by Doja Cat.
Which
I
one?
think I know.
It's a very sexual one. She's like, I don't really got no type. I just want to F all night. you know which one I'm talking about? Like the whole song is just crazy, and this is a woman singing it.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I know that it's been like
the
something
transition
like,
of it, and then I think I saw on like a little clip on YouTube from like another podcast. I'm not sure it was like on the Joe Rogan one, or I'm not sure which one, but it was like he was making like what's it called, like trends in like people back then and people now, and he was saying that basically now men have, you know, pretty much like went from, you know, big shoulders squared up and everything to now being like little frail skinny guys where they're hunched over like that. And like now women are becoming like, you know, big, you know, tougher muscles, getting more tattoos and everything, and like guys are becoming just like more frail and stuff. And he was just making like those little like correlations between like the times, like people back then, people now. And I'm just, you know, it gets you thinking sometimes, like, you know, what's to come in the future and stuff.
We're essentially the downfall of our own selves, bro. Like, as a society, if you want to like be with society, right? Yeah, just get ready. Like, you're like a dumb kid with like a sword, right? And you're just gonna fucking
Trip.
land on that shit, and it's coming, and all these people they're gonna look like fools, bro. They're gonna look like fools. But what I was gonna say was this, right? So if I was the devil, bro, right? Like, just think about it, right? God told man, right? God's like, be fruitful and multiply, right? What does the devil do, right? It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna control sex altogether, right? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna be fruitful, right? And I'm gonna make money off of this, and people are gonna sell themselves to this, but they won't multiply, because abortion and Plan Bs and condoms and all this, I will create all these things and like just spit it right back in your face, right?
Yeah.
Think about it, man. Think about it. Remember when I sent you all that? Was it the Bible one?
Oh yeah, the long
Yeah, I remember.
about the Revelations.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff.
remember? So that shit was real eye-awakening, man. Because I know the serpent deceives Eve, right? So Eve eats the the fruit, right? The forbidden fruit. And then she goes and tells Adam, right? And she says, eat it too, right? Well, how did the devil tempt her, the serpent thing? They say, you can be like God, no?
Like God.
Yeah, you can be like God, right? And then God comes, right? And he's like, well, where are you, right? He calls out for Adam, no?
Yeah.
He's like, where are you, right? And then that's when he says, like, we're ashamed. Why? I made you. You're like me.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of anything, right? God's like, I'm not ashamed of anything. What the hell do you have to be ashamed for?
Who told you
Yeah.
that you were,
Oh, this thing here. This thing told me.
who told
What
you
is
you were
that?
naked?
What is that thing that told you, bro? Your learning development. What you learned in this world. Jesus dice, bro, that the ruler of this world is the devil, bro. This is his domain. All this stuff. All this shit, right? As much as it belongs to God, of course. But here, as long as we're in this playground, right? We were like little kids in
Sandbags.
elementary, right? And we're like, let's go to that one.
Yeah.
Let's go to that rusted playground, right? Let's take a risk, right? This is where we're at.
But there's no escaping room.
No.
Because even in the Bible, we've talked about this before. The Apostle Paul is saying, "Who can save me from this body of sin?" So, like you said, if it is true that whoever's reigning this world is evil, and we're constantly being bombarded by all these evil things, and there's also like a Christian song that says like, "Be careful, little eyes, what you see.
Yeah.
Be careful, little ears, what you hear." I'm pretty sure that's like a verse in the Bible or something. There's no way out like that. There's nothing we can do about it. There's only the message of Jesus,
Yeah.
that he's here to change to save us from like our sinful selves, and to give us like a new mind within us and a spirit within us that is constantly being
Yeah.
renewed every day to think like God, even though daily bad thoughts come into our heads, and even we make mistakes.
Yeah.
But it's Him inside of us renewing us every day to do godly things that we ourselves are not capable of doing, because we live in a fallen world.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And you had asked the question like, how do animals see us, right? And a couple of podcasts ago, for whatever reason, one night I was thinking about that question. That question came to mind, and I said, "This is a good question." Right? In my mind, I'm reflecting at night, right? I'm like, how do they see us? But we know some stuff. We were made in His image. How do they see us? In His image.
Gods.
Yeah. They see us as God here, right? But, so, for me, when I see, like, people, I'm like, as crazy as this sounds, I'm like, all those people, if I could like combine them together to make one face, is a face I wouldn't recognize. I couldn't say like, I've seen this face before, and I won't remember, right? It'll be entirely new to me, right? I'm like, this means that we're made in His image, right? Without getting too far into the weeds, right? But I wanted to come back to the serpent, right? God lays that serpent like, you're gonna get hit in the head, right? And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and they will bruise your head, something like that, and something about the heel. Essentially, coming to the story of the Tower of Babel. Essentially coming to there, right? In this documentary that I sent y'all. So then, what was his name? The Nimrod, right?
Okay.
Nimrod is like this king person, something like that. He's an important figure at this time, right? And God knows,
Babylon.
yeah, God knows about who he is, right? He knows about who this guy is. So this guy, in this documentary that I shared, right? This guy says that according to the Josephus, he was like a character, or an important character after the death. According to Josephus, that Nimrod's whole thing was to save his ancestors, right? To redeem them because God had flooded the world, and He was gonna make a city so high in the air that the water couldn't reach it, right?
Mhm.
And so God separated the peoples, and so we get that story. But then he gets killed, this guy, right? And so he was like a king type. And his woman was having an affair, right?
Yeah. According to the story.
So yeah, according to this, so the woman was having the affair, and in order to cover up that deed, she makes the claim that the child that's in her is Nimrod reincarnate, that she was impregnated by the sun rays, and this is where you get your paganism. That's how this guy begins this, right?
Yeah.
He began this. This is where you get your sun worshippers, and it's not just
Reincarnation.
Greek, Roman, all over the world. Everybody has an like even here in the lost tribe of Israel, that's what they consider the Americas. Even here, they were worshiping the sun, right? So this is the devil at play, right? So, as you said, Jesus Christ has to come into the world, but how, right? The devil's already like God trying to twist logic and trying to twist right what God has said. He's like, no, like let's make it look like that, but let's put a little twist in there, you know. Let's put a little twist in there. But Jesus then has to come through a virgin birth. The common tie of the pagan worshippers was that the Anubis was también. His mom was a virgin. And this was the same in Greek and Roman and in Egyptian mythology and all these places. It's the same. You have you ever asked? You're like, why does Zeus look like Jupiter?
Yeah.
Like it looks like the same guy. It was because they're worshiping false gods, right? Which is a commandment that was gonna be coming. Like it was like whatever God knew. This thing was had answers for at the moment.
Yeah, it was like the what do you call it? The currency, the fake currency. What do you call it? The counterfeit.
So
counterfeit was already being
yeah.
made before
So
the truth
Mhm.
has even gotten here.
See, and so unfortunately, it's like you have God up here, right, and the devil down here, and then Earth is it's like there's like this really cool. Let me pull it up, man. There's this really cool thing that my dad has. Made in number of the beast art. This is what it is essentially. Can't click it. So it's like this guy. Shit. Let me go back. So you can kind of see it, right? It's like this guy. He's holding the strings of the devil, and the devil's holding the strings of the people.
Oh, okay.
And the world is burning. So, and these guys have very interesting songs too. Maybe we can check one out. But what I was gonna say was, Jesus dice esta información, bro. Jesus I don't know who he tells. I can't remember the verse or what book it is, but I do remember reading that he says, the prince of this world knows that his time's coming at an end. Algo así, he's freaking out now. So I had another question, right? And I couldn't find any answers to. My question was, Jesus came to save the world. Well, to save people, to save people's spirits, right? But at the time that Jesus is coming in, right? This is the highest. The devil is also you said, is a counterfeit, right? At the same time, there's things there to freak out, right? My question was, because I've heard of we're waiting for the second coming. I don't know what that means, okay? But what if up to that point, the people who were there, who believed at that moment up to his death, was the first to go, were the first to be, how can I say, martyred into heaven, if that makes any sense.
To experience what heaven is.
Yeah,
Not for him, no one else had experienced.
Yeah, so it's like up to that point, right? Because apparently we're waiting for the second coming, and it's like another wave,
Okay.
maybe I could only fit so many in a bag, right? I gotta come back. I'll come back for the rest of y'all, you know. Just be patient, you know. How do we know, bro? How do we know? And then I had this other sick thought. At the same time I was having that one, this one came to mind. What if, because Revelation says that those who believe will not experience second death, what if in this injunction, right, this is hell, right, and everything else is an illusion, and for whatever reason rulers or the enlightened ones suggested that maybe if we read the Bible we might have a bit of a chance, so let's create order out of chaos and try to create some kind of decency, but still give people free will just in case they like it here, you know, and they want to die, right? Just in case, right? Like give free will. And so I was just like, what the fuck was that, right? And so you get to a point where you start questioning things, and this is a dangerous place to go because the mind is thinking logically, right? But the Bible is saying something else, right? And so this is a scary place to be. But I don't know, it was crazy that thought had came into my mind, man. And I was just like, well, you know, because you don't know. I mean, I don't know. And so while all of this was going on, this happened for the span of about maybe 3 weeks. This whole thing. For whatever reason, I had a sudden interest in Israel, particularly Jerusalem, for whatever reason. Peaked interest. I think I sent you all a text like, we gotta go there, I think. I don't know if it was you guys that I had sent that. Like, we gotta go to Jerusalem or something.
Maybe I think.
Like, we gotta go to Israel or something. It was around this time when all of this was going down. And I did research. And I'm not trying to provoke anybody's thoughts here, right? That's not my goal. We're firmly founded in our faith. Well, at least I hope we are at King the Table. And anybody who's listening, I hope that they're firmly founded in who Jesus is, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want to say here. But this thought that had came into mind, bro. Where was I going with this, man? What was I talking about before this?
About how you sent us this text so that we had to go to Jerusalem.
Yeah, okay. This video came on my TikTok, right? Appeared some white lady, and you could tell, right? But she's in a Muslim get, right? She's like wearing Muslim things. I don't know what they're called. I don't want to be discriminatory or racist or ignorant. I don't know what it is, so I won't say. But she says she's crying, right? She's crying hardcore, and I said, "What is this on here?" Wow, my faith is being questioned. This video comes along, and she's bawling, and she says, "There's only one God." She says, "Jesus is not a God." She says, "Why?" She says, she's crying, trying to pull at your emotions, right? And I shut this off. I start looking at Jerusalem. I start looking that direction. Internet, YouTube videos. I want to see what's going on, right? I want to see what this is about. The books are all similar, the three of them. The three. Three is an important number. The three of them are, the origins of how shit began is similar up to the point Christianity and Judaism break off here from Islamists, that Abraham was sacrificed Ishmael, not Isaac. These two believe that it was Isaac. So 2-1, right? If you were keeping score, 2-1, right? But we keep going, right? Now you have your Judaism and Christianity holding hands for a good while, right? Up to the point where this is a blasphemer, right? Up to this point, and so anything beyond this Jesus character is blasphemy, and we must stone him. And so up to this point, oh, the New Testament is bullshit, so we're gonna cut off here. So now you separated yourself from Islamists, right? And you separated yourself now from Christianity in the beginning, right? Acá it's towards the latter. The Islamists believe that Jesus walked the earth, that he was a prophet of God, that he performed miracles, that he healed the blind, made the blind to see, did cast out demons. They saw this, but what they do not believe is that he died on the cross. They say that it was a counterfeit that went up there, right? And Jesus was spared. That's what they believe. So these guys kind of line up with the Jews when you think about it, right? They kind of line up with them. Between these three things, there's things that are similar and things that are different, right? You could say like
Mainly Jesus.
Same,
is
yeah.
the one that separates
same,
everything.
yeah. Things that are similar, things like we're all sharing from a plate, right? It's just like you like.
We don't agree on who this person
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
his
You like
character.
you like carrots, but I don't, and this person doesn't like it either, right? And that's okay. You can keep them, right? And I said, why is this? Well, what is this, right? I said, how could this happen? So I started digging further, right? I started looking at information, and they said, when did this the Islamist point is, when did Jesus say, bow down and worship me? I said that. So because it doesn't say exactly like that, right? The New Testament is bullshit. One, that's their first point, right? The second one is this, that because there's so many versions of the New Testament, or the book in general, because there's so many versions, they say that it has been perverted, right? But only the Quran was the original text. Hasn't been perversed. It hasn't been messed with. It hasn't been translated for anybody's version. That's what they say. But mind you, their book says that Jesus did not die on the cross. But Christians, and not just Christians, there was no Christians then. The Jews at that time who became Christians, there is a bunch of witnesses, right? So how can it be? That's the question. How could this happen? Everybody was together at some point. Everybody saw this shit go down, right? Not to be disrespectful, I'm calling it shit, but you get what I'm trying to say. They saw this stuff go down, and you were gonna decide on your own, because Muhammad is not mentioned at all in the New Testament. We don't know about this prophet at all, right? After Jesus dies, the very last thing is that we see from his disciple that was close was Revelations. That's the very last thing. We don't hear about Muhammad at all, Prophet Muhammad, and I don't want to cause any problems. Okay, I don't understand the faith. I'm not gonna say I do. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert. But what if it was up to one guy who said, you know what, I'm God, and I dictate what's good and what isn't, and I say what is real and what isn't, and so I can prove that I'm God on earth, right? By suggesting that that in the future people would think like this. And so long as they think like this, I live on forever. What do you think about that? Like, so long as people believe this foundation, right? The way that I said, because I want to pervade things.
Yeah.
Because again, we're saying the devil pervades things.
Yeah.
Counterfeits things.
I think that in the case of the story of Jesus, right? He died and rose again on the third day. And like I said, there were witnesses to this, and there was a lot of witnesses.
Yeah.
And they didn't write the books to what they saw until maybe 100 years later, 80 to 100 years later, right? If you think about it, it sounds like a long time, but compared to other history books that we hold to be truthful and we trust them and everything, it's not that bad. And besides, there's different accounts from different trusted people that if you bring them together, there are some things that seem different, but
Yeah.
it doesn't disprove
Mhm.
anything. We know for a fact, well, we can never prove for a fact for sure, but
Mhm.
we can make the, I guess, our personal opinion or our
Yeah.
judgment and say, okay, this proof is enough for me to say, okay, these people, they all said that Jesus existed, that he died on the cross,
Mhm.
and that he resurrected on the third day according to these different, because we
Mhm.
have like the four gospels, and I know
Yeah.
that there's like more,
Mhm.
but those didn't make the cut to be
Yeah.
put in the Bible because, I don't know, whoever was making the decisions back then, I
Mhm.
guess they didn't like it.
Yeah.
And there is like criticism around that, like, why do you exclude it or whatever. But I guess for me personally, I can never convince someone 100% of like what is or what isn't. You just have to look at these facts that they're out there. That's all there is, all the evidence there is, and you kind of have to choose for yourself.
Yeah.
But as far as like this prophet, Muhammad prophet guy or whatever, there's like you said, there's nothing written about him, about his encounter with his angels or whoever gave him the message.
Mhm.
I mean, to start off, Jesus Christ warned. Was it Jesus? I think it was an angel talking to John and the Revelation or something
Mhm.
like it. Even if an angel comes to you with a different gospel, let them be anathema, let them be cursed or whatever.
Yeah.
So and that even draws up como suspicion. So this guy is talking to an angel, supposedly like Angel Gabriel or something.
Yeah, yeah,
But it doesn't even matter who it is because, like I said, even if an angel from heaven came
Mhm.
down and gave you a different gospel, let them be cursed.
Yeah.
So his accounts are he saw an angel who gave him the whole truth. He
Mhm.
saw the truth for himself
Yeah.
because of an angel. Well, then how is that to be trusted? Who are the witnesses?
Mhm.
Who can write this down as there were witnesses to write down the stories of Jesus? You know, so
Mhm.
that's kind of something that you just have to take up on your own and trust it with your common knowledge, like you said, like your logic,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? But as far as like Jesus being important or not, I mean, based on what we believe in the Bible, he's been prophesied. His coming, his birth has been prophesied since the beginning of time, since Adam and Eve, like you were saying.
Mhm.
He was to stomp on the head of the serpent,
Mhm.
and God says the serpent will like bite the heel
Yeah.
of the seed of the woman, and the
Mhm.
seed of the woman will crush your head,
Yeah.
basically like killing it.
Mhm.
And then throughout, there was always prophecy. The prophet Isaiah
Mhm.
and all Daniel and
Yeah.
all those prophesied about the virgin
Mhm.
birth and
Yeah.
all these things. And then throughout his life, he fulfilled all those
Mhm.
prophecies. And
Yeah.
then we have the stories written down. And yes, there has been translations by the king, even King James
Mhm.
or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
because he needed it in Spanish or I don't know what language he needed it, English. Or,
I meet the
Yeah.
I meet them.
So yeah, I think that it only serves. The one thing that I wouldn't say, like, if a person like Jesus Christ, if he was just a lunatic, let's say, if he was just a lunatic, and he wanted people to remember his name years from now, it wouldn't have been possible, bro, if there weren't events to back up
Yeah.
who he came to be, because even one of the teachings in the Bible itself, it was like Christianity itself was considered a sect excluded from Judaism.
Mhm.
Judaism was the only accepted belief at that point. So
Mhm.
even from then, Jesus Christ was a rebel. Hey, don't listen to even from when the
Yeah.
moment he was born.
Mhm.
He's a sect. In this day, like if we were here, Christianity was accepted around us.
Mhm.
There's like someone coming in, let's say like Jehovah's Witness or someone with something different than what we accept, right? And
Yeah.
and we will be don't listen to this guy. This guy is crazy. This guy is a blasphemer. So ever since he was born, this guy's a blasphemer. Do not pay attention to him, right? So anyway.
Before all this, we were saying that Jesus wouldn't have came because he to be remembered, like he was a lunatic. You said.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Okay, so now the point that I was trying to make of him being in a sect, that there were some people saying like the higher ups of the Judaism, or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
I don't remember what they're called.
Mhm.
They were like, okay, if it's a sect, we shouldn't worry about him, because according to what we know and history shows is that there have been many sects. Even at that time, there were many sects,
Mhm.
but Judaism was the main thing,
Mhm.
and Judaism had prevailed for the longest time because
Yeah.
Judaism was what Moses taught everyone. And Judaism, in reality, like it is the truth, but when you combine it with Jesus himself. So what they were saying is, if this man is fake, like we believe, don't worry about it, because just like all the other sects, it's gonna dissipate eventually. Like they can go on for years, but
But in the
eventually it'll dissipate because it's not true.
Yeah.
And whatever's not true is gonna cease to
Yeah.
exist. Like there's no one's gonna believe in it. So the fact that Jesus Christ being an outcast, being a sect, being not accepted, and him saying crazy things that are not accepted by anyone, the fact that survived, and not only survived to where like a little people believe in it, but where like it changed the whole world. We have calendar, the days that we count are because we're waiting for the second coming of Jesus. We're 2022 now.
Yeah.
That's because we're counting after Jesus died. So he impacted the whole world. How come one lunatic who just says I'm God? Anybody can, there's been many
Yeah.
Jesuses, bro. Even nowadays there's people who claim to be Jesus.
Yeah.
But this one man, it only can be true because the people who start believing in him and follow his ways, obviously they get impacted.
Yeah.
Their lives change, their lives are impacted, they see miracles or whatever it is that they see, and they pass on the message. And then the message continues, and then to this day, the message continues. So what did the guy say? If it's not true, it's going to dissipate. Well, it never did. It's still here, you know?
So, what I was gonna say was, I've heard different preachings on. All right, bros. I don't know about you all, but the people who listen to our podcast and our reaction videos are pretty cool people. But how much cooler would they be if they got some merch that looks like this? Caps. If you're interested in getting a cap, Donald, let them know what they gotta do.
Okay, we're going to put the link of the online location where you can go shop for them. And they should go for around $35, I would say. And yeah, these are the first ones that we have, but probably gonna have different varieties coming up. But I think we can put it on the video, right? Like the link.
See,
the
a link, yeah. We'll put it on the link, yeah.
for the store, for the online store where they're at.
Yeah, and you know, we appreciate y'all listening to us and leaving comments and likes and letting us know your feedbacks. This ain't a requirement. If you want to show us your support, this is not where you can do so. But we really appreciate y'all staying here and, you know, watching our stuff and leaving comments and likes. But, you know, if you want to go the extra mile, this is not a requirement. But we appreciate y'all, and this is just something first to come. We're working on some other things behind the scenes, and we'll let them know, you know, throughout the months to come.
All right. Peace.